All right, so I am officially calling it spring. There are bees on the peach tree behind me, and it is now time for a very important part of early spring. And that is giving my peach tree friend here some food after making all these beautiful flowers, and then hopefully making some beautiful peaches in the weeks and months to come. Now, when it comes to fertilization, this is a bit of a slippery slope that we find ourselves on, because there's the organic and then conventional means to do this, and I'm not going to get into that battle today, but what I am going to share with you is a fertilizer that I have found tremendously successful for me that also happens to be organic. 3 basic ingredients to this, and all of them readily available, 2 of them incredibly cheap for what you get, and the last involves some talk about poop. The first one being alfalfa, or in this case, alfalfa pellets, which you can find usually at local co-ops. Now, what makes alfalfa so neat? Well, these pellets, after they get soaked in a little bit of water, will eventually start to break down and decompose, and they add some vital nutrients to the soil. But here's a really key benefit of alfalfa. It's sort of like speed for decomposing matter. It really helps increase the ability of soil and nutrients to be decomposed into the surrounding soil, so our trees and shrubs and vegetables can all pick up those nutrients a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. The next one is a granulated or dried molasses. Now, what makes this so interesting besides the fact that it's molasses, and who would think you could use that in the garden? Well, molasses is a carbon-based sugar, and what's extraordinary about that capability is that beneficial microbes love to feed on carbon-based sugars. Now, the nice thing about this also, it is extremely cheap. Large bags are like 14 bucks or so, and it will last you a very long time, and that will again help your native soil that's there by feeding beneficial microbes. Last but certainly not least in my little fertilizer menu here is worm castings, or simply called worm poop. So as the worms run through the soil, well, I guess worms don't really run through the soil, they sort of crawl through soil, but once they do that, soil comes in, soil comes out, and this is what the out is. It's the leftover digestive tract eaten soil that the worms go through, and what's nice about that is it immediately has a lot of beneficial microbes that we need to get into our soil, along with some of the basic components that we need to feed our trees and shrubs like nitrogen. So once we mix this all together, then what do we do with it? Well, we use it as a top dressing right around the root system of the trees. Now, the thing that I like about this mixture so much is, unlike some synthetic fertilizers that you'll find where you can actually harm your trees with too much, this is pretty low in nitrogen and a lot of the things that create burn in trees and shrubs. So I just like to put a nice top dressing right after they blossom like this, and if they're heavier feeders, in another month or so, in particular in the case of fruit trees, when they start to set fruit, I'll probably put another application down. Vegetables, a little bit more frequent, because again, these are all things that are working very hard to produce fruits and vegetables. Now, in the case of non-flowering trees and shrubs, I'll give an application right now around bud break, and then again later in the summer after they've sort of been a little bit beaten up by the hot, humid weather that I get here. And this has been a great success for me in my garden, and I hope it helps you too.